I have to say that one of the people who influenced me the most was Patrick Kavanagh. I think he was the first person I read that I realised wrote about things I knew and recognised. I went to Rathlin to the Writers' Weekend in around about 2001, just after September the 11th. And in that year I had been studying really hard. I had a couple of small children. I was working really hard, and I promised myself that once I finished that course I would do something just for me. And a friend invited me to go to Rathlin, and we went off like a pair of bluffers, to just be on the island and join the writers and see what would happen. I started writing very late. It just awoke something in me. If art can save the world, and if what we need is an army for that fight, I think that's one I want to be conscripted into. Displacement. I robbed the spring banks of primroses and bluebells for a May altar. There were only daisies otherwise. There was nothing in the gardens of my childhood that was not wild, that was not laden with the cuckoo flower, herb robert, feathered grasses, seeds, and the sudden dun-white flash of sparring hares in fields fringed with bulrushes, reeds, cygnets, and later, all summer, dragonflies. I lived in a world up close, the peat-rich water, the riverbanks, poppies, crabapple, blackthorn, foxgloves, heart-stopping foxgloves, pale wild roses, harebells. Everything that wilted quickly when moved from its own place. The choreography of being pious. When Mother Peter developed full-blown TB, we all had to have the vaccination, even if we never had music lessons, even if we never had the knuckles rapped off us with the long, thin edge of a wooden ruler. They wouldn't do it now. They couldn't get away with parading 6-year-olds past the desiccated remnants of a parched Sister of Mercy with her head bound to keep her mouth shut, coins on her eyes, cotton stuffed up her nose. See no evil, speak no evil. We dared not make a sound. I only pretended to touch her and wouldn't breathe in. Helen McCaffrey played piano. She was holy, reverent, knew the right moves. I kept my eyes on her, mimicking unsteadily the choreography of being pious. Imprint. At the old library, Dr. Seuss and the Cat in the Hat were newcomers the day I missed the bus home and wet my knickers in the jail square in front of the teenagers from the tech. Helen Corrigan brought me home to her mother, who, bless her, brought me home to my own mother. Knees clenched, I sidled as though I could cover up the telltale cling of a pink and white nylon polka dot frock and the imprint of the front page of the impartial reporter I had to sit on to save the seat of the car. Reading. We never knew how you'd be when you got home. The dog either stayed sharing the sofa or dived for cover under a table. If he dived, we dived too. In our house, you had to learn to read the dog. Lunchtime with Rosie. I am dreaming of the miracle of your face, curves, eyes, lips. It comes to me in fragments. The image is not whole. Your smile, still. The Canano Reserva was too like a port wine, too strong, a titration into blue notes I didn't know were there, waiting. I wrapped into a blanket on the roof terrace, watched the sun sink and the moon rupture the dark. There is the sea, ripping and repairing itself in waves. Jacaranda, bougainvillea, hollyhocks, cacti, geranium, figs, peaches, pomodori, plumbago, lovers in the water. The builder's roof, the new apartment block, blocking the view, housing it in concrete, and still everything is blue. Mrs. Housepride next door waters the garden twice a day, every day, while torpor insists itself into the heat, mocking a life driven by not enough, not good enough, not long enough, not paid enough, not perfect enough. In the mountains, far up in the mountains, cork oaks stripped to the waist, red rusted, bleeding, are at work. Wild myrtle thickens the air so I can taste it just by breathing. Butterflies, cicadas, dragonflies, ants, dust, and tiny blue flowers. Olive trees. We sit here together, sifting the dance steps and snapshots of our lives, our daughters, our compound fractures of homes like mirror images, the state of our world, wars, the weather, and whether these olives are for sharing. We know punk rebellions set us free, and we don't want to die.